What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 18 of the Chel Stars podcast. Today is an interesting one. We have a special guest, and we also are missing Erin and Kyle. Currently, Kyle is sick as a dog, but I know he's going to be listening to this one, so we're going to try to keep this as entertaining as possible. We actually have a guest who comes from a different perspective outside of our Canucks fan base and the Avs fan base. He is a Montreal and Vegas fan, so we'll be getting some more insight in terms of how their teams are doing, what their stats are looking like. Braydon, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mikey. What's up? My name is Braydon, and as you said, Habs fan, Vegas fan, just kind of general overall hockey fan, so I'm excited you guys let me on the podcast for this one.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you and any other future guest. We took a little bit of a break. We were out for 2 weeks, so we do have a bit of news to recap. Canucks played 7 games in the time span, so we'll be discussing that as well as some more trivia and a couple other interesting topics surrounding Hall of Fame. But Max, I'll let you start off with the news.
Oh, thank you, Mikey, and welcome back, everyone listening. As Mikey mentioned, we missed the last 2 weeks. A lot has happened since then. Throughout the NHL, there's been some insane point streaks, some highs and lows for almost every team. But I mean, I think we can probably start off with a little bit of a Canucks recap. Then we can get into a few other minor deals throughout the league, and then we'll definitely touch on with Braydon for Montreal and Vegas. I'd love to hear his viewpoints there. But Canucks, they went 4-3 since we last saw them. Very interesting, couple games. They finally had 3-game win streak and then just, pooped the bed. Going back to, home stand, losing 5-1 2 games in a row. And just recently they played Arizona, and it was not a convincing win at all. We also had the Demko injury happen, but I do want to pass it off to Corey because I know he has a lot to say about the Canucks and their recent play.
Yeah, thanks, Max. First of all, I just want to say I was fortunate enough to be at the game a couple of weeks ago when the Canucks were at home to Vegas on a Monday night. Partaking in the game with a friend and hear a voice out of the from just a little forward to the left of me, hear my name called, and just to the corner out of my eye see my good friend Mikey right to one row above me. So it was a nice little surprise, and got to watch the game with Mike here, our very own.
Yeah, no, that was good seeing you. I just turned my head, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, what is going on? It's Corey.
It's always funny how that happens, eh? It's like you always seem to run into the people you know. So out of all the seats, it's like, of course it's right there. But no, it was good. Good little run in. Yeah, I can't say the game was as good as our run in. It was a close game. Canucks did not play well. They had no business being in that game. But that was a few weeks ago. After that, they went on a win streak a little bit, and then lost a couple as of recently. Max says I have a lot to say. Well, I don't know if I want to say anymore. I've had the time to really sit down and watch the games this last couple of weeks. I was sick all weekend, so I really sat down and watched the games. The Canucks this year are not a good team. They should be. We have good players. Maybe not good defense, but we do have good players. But they just don't play well. So, I mean, they're capable of some playing well sometimes and getting a win, but that's not the common. What were you going to say?
I just said it's like typical Canucks because, they lost to Vegas 5-4 that game, but then they played them a few games after and they beat them very convincingly. Like I think it was like 5-1, 5-2, something like that, if I recall.
It was 5-1.
And then, so they beat one of the best teams in the league like that convincingly, yet they struggle with teams like Arizona. It's just, this has kind of been like the trend they've been on for like the past few years, where they could beat good teams and then like the bottom feeder teams where they're supposed to, 2-3 goal deficit. No, they can't play properly against them.
Yeah, and most recently the Arizona game, like they barely won in overtime. You need to be able to beat teams like that, and I'm kind of like at the start of the season I was hopeful. I really liked the core that they had, but now I'm kind of at a point where I'm thinking I don't think this core is going to be capable of like winning a Stanley Cup, and from there I don't know where they go. I don't know if I really even want to cheer for them to make the playoffs this year, because I don't know what the end game is, and I think maybe extending Miller long term was a mistake, especially if it costs us Horvat.
Yeah, and Horvat's lighting it up right now, like 19 goals.
Yeah. I do want to shout out our fourth line. Sheldon Dries. I don't know if they're always on our fourth line, but our depth players, Amon,
Joshua.
These guys are great.
Lazar, yeah.
Yeah, like they're noticeable. So I don't know if it's the coach or the player, like when we see guys like Poltkozen and Rathbone getting scratched or sent down. But, these players with less minutes they're noticeable. So that's kind of been a positive.
I think they play harder just because they want more ice time. They know their role, right? They know they're obviously not your Miller and Pettersson and your Horvats. They need to be a little bit gritty and grind some more. And I think, the coach sees that. And you remember what they did with Lamico, Highmore, and Mott? He played them so often. Like, he played that line in, crucial minutes, too.
I was kind of going to mention that, too, like, about the whole fourth line thing. Like, I was kind of touching it, like, talking about Vegas. But, like, when you have a team that's a little, like, their expectations are a little low just because they had a tough start to the season, you kind of need your fourth line guys to get, like, more of a role. So when those fourth line guys are producing, it kind of kicks your first line into gear to, like, get going. You can actually, instead of have more production than your grinder line.
Yeah, it gives like a real boost to your lineup when they're out there. It doesn't even matter if they don't score those goals. It's, if they're hemming the other team in the other zone, they're getting some big hits here and there, just trying to get energy throughout the lineup, and that's exactly what they're there for. That's why they got players like Joshua and Lazar, and they're not these young guys they're really trying to develop. I mean, Amon's very young, not to say that, but I'm saying, they're there for that reason, and I'm liking that part of them.
What do we think about Boeser? Being traded this year or no?
I seen on Instagram that it's fake. His little trade request thing was a fake thing. I've seen something, but I guess you never know. Like, you could just say it's fake. Like, they could just say it's fake to,
yeah,
not like cause a pile of shit. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because I feel like he would fit in other teams, but at the same time, he's not playing terrible for us right now. I think he's got like 16 points in 18 games or something like that. A stat line was like that, something like that.
That's the best time to trade him if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
And a team that's kind of like the nicest way possible down in the dumps. Like, when you're kind of lower in the Pacific and then you hear that one of your like main piece players is starting to talk to their teams, the immediate team's going to be like, oh no, like, don't worry, like, it's fake. Like, I don't know if it is fake or not. Like, I didn't really see too much on it. But, like, your immediate team's obviously going to deny anything, so it's tough to say if he is actually looking to leave or not. So it's kind of tough. And your fans are already having a hard enough time getting on your back especially when it's kind of low in the standings. So it's tough when one of your top players are like, I want out. So they're just trying possibly to deny it.
Yeah. If it does happen, I don't think it would be probably off season or maybe trade deadline. If a player like that was going to be moved.
What would you accept for Boeser?
That's a hard one.
I mean, I'd probably like a defenseman around the same age with the same upside. That's probably what I'd be looking for.
Yeah, just a young defensive prospect, really.
Yeah.
I think if they were to trade him, it'd be primarily to shed that salary in hopes to keep Horvat, or they're just doing a complete fire sale and getting rid of him and Horvat and Garland. You know, I know you wouldn't like that.
Extremely unfortunate for them, but yeah.
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't know what Canucks management is fully thinking. I think they're still trying to wait things out, but with how the team's going and how Corey mentioned it, they're just not, you know, they can maybe string a few wins here and there, but they're just ultimately not a team that looks like they can go far at all. If, you know, playoffs is their upside, really, at this point. Their ceiling. You know.
And another big topic on the Canucks, besides Boeser, Pettersson's still lighting it up, which is great to see. He's actually playing how he should have been playing the last couple seasons. Like he's every single game he's scoring or getting an assist. So that's good to see. At least he's actually trying out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to see a lot of it too being at 5v5. I think it was the other day he initially got credited with the power play goal, which would have been his first, but then it got credited to Kuzmenko. So he still has 0 power play goals on the year. He has 11 goals, all at even strength, which is, you know, a good thing. He's dominating at 5v5.
I was kind of seeing all like Vancouver's stats quickly before we started. Like he has 29 points, like he's 11 goals, 19 assists, which is like crazy good, but only 9 of them are on the power play, even though Vancouver has like a decent, like I think they're like 5th or 6th in the league for power play. When you got 29, like your top point getter is only like 9. Like, I mean, it's honestly crazy to see that your top point getter really only has 9.
Here's the thing with the power play, and I noticed this especially last game. Yeah, they had a really high rated power play, but going into Arizona, they were 0 for 8, and they had a 5-on-3 in Arizona, and they didn't score because they have the same move. The whole year they've had the same move, and it's feed Horvat in the slot. Horvat rips the one-timer and scores, but it's kind of predictable now. And I still see them trying the same move. And Horvat has a ton of goals, yeah, but I think teams just know how to defend it now. Especially the same Western teams that you play over and over and over.
Yeah, they just have to cover
Pettersson. Just like the one-timer. Like the Pettersson one-timer. That's like it's either Horvat in the slot or Pettersson's getting hit for the one-timer. So
they have great offensive players. They need to move it around. I also noticed they were standing still a lot of the time. So I don't think their power play was very good at all last game. I think they got to utilize more of their players. Like, yeah, Pettersson has a wicked one-timer. They got to use that more often, or get their feet moving and just try something different. It's really, I've just seen them try. All I see is the same thing. Horvat in the slot. So
yeah,
I don't know. Not fun to watch. I was watching a game, the last couple of games, and it's comparing this team to the 2009 to 2012, especially in 2011. Like comparing this team to that Canucks team is miles apart. Like they are nowhere near the level of competition that they were a decade ago. So, yeah. I think that kind of changed my my tone a little bit.
So, last little thoughts on the Canucks before we wrap up our talk. Demko injured for about 6 weeks. I think that's what they were saying. Spencer Martin get the chance to be starting goalie. Is that an upside considering how well he's been playing for them this season?
Sure. I want to see what Martin does. Yeah, now it's Martin's ball to run with, so he's been good. Deserves it.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. Be cool to see what he does with it.
Yeah.
I think they mentioned on the broadcast against Arizona in the next couple of weeks they only have one back-to-back. So it's really up to them to see how much they want to fully ride Martin. I mean, 7-2-1 on the year. It's pretty good for a young goaltender who doesn't have that many, NHL games under his belt. So we'll have to see what they can do with him.
Who are the Canucks calling up as his backup?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yikes. Let's just give him a back-to-back game. See what he can do. He's young. It's fine.
Yep. Moving on.
Should we get let's get Mynt to talk about Montreal, how they're doing, Vegas.
All right. Give her a shot. Let me get my...
You've got lots of notes prepared, I hear.
Yeah, I got my notes. I studied for this.
Yeah, I can hear.
But all right, well, kind of just go over kind of a brief what's been going on with Montreal. It's, mostly Vancouver takes on here, so instead of just the last 2 weeks, I'll kind of quickly go over what's the whole season. They're 12-11-1, which they're all right, but unfortunately, I was kind of going to mention with Vancouver is that the Pacific is getting better, so it's they have kind of tougher competition, whereas Montreal is in the Atlantic, so they have a slight bit of advantage just because the Atlantic is slowly not as hot anymore. Aside, you got your powerhouses like Tampa and Boston, but 12-11-1 isn't too bad for such a young team. Suzuki with 28 points, which is not super high on the spectrum. He's turning into such a good shooter. He started off kind of not as developed. I think this is mostly to do with St. Louis as coach. He's I think he's so used to being that outcast. When he started, he was a short player, undrafted, so he kind of has that mentality that he's giving Suzuki and Caulfield, Doc. So I think it's kind of helping them slowly develop. I don't think they're quite there yet. Playoffs would be cool, but he's slowly developing them, which is nice. Suzuki has almost a 27% shooting percentage. So anytime the puck's on his stick, he's obviously deceptive. He's scoring 27% of the time he shoots that puck, which is scary because speaking of power plays, he doesn't even score that much on the power play. It's mostly Cole Caulfield with the one-timer. So, which is actually crazy. And Cole Caulfield, 13 goals, 9 assists. We're kind of almost getting into Vancouver territory here. You see the prolific goal scorer, you see the assist getter. Doc has 4 goals but 14 assists. You kind of have those role players. You get the goal scorer, you get the assist. Doc, great addition to the team. As soon as that trade happened, I was absolutely ecstatic. That was awesome. That was a great trade. He's fit in super well. Only downside I see to this team, unfortunately, I think you kind of have that mentality. Oh man, I wish Price was in. That's just not an option, unfortunately, anymore. So you have Allen and Montembeault. Montembeault is playing fine, but when you see who they play, he's playing rested. They put Allen in back-to-backs both times. They don't use Montembeault as often. So he has a 9.24 with a 2.48 goals against average, which is okay, but he's playing he's playing Buffalo, he's playing Arizona, he's playing Anaheim, Chicago. So, I'm not an NHL player, so I guess I'm like, oh, bad teams. Any team can win. But, when your starter is Allen and he has almost 4 goals against average, it's kind of tough to win those games, especially when you're a young team who isn't quite developed. My last-ish point is their injured reserve. It's like you're already a young team. It's already tough to play in a tougher-ish division when you got Boston, Tampa, stuff like that. They don't have Duren, Hoffman, Gallagher, Price, and Byron currently, who have been out for 2 weeks. So Gallagher is kind of that tough. He's not as big, but he kind of has that tough protect style. Duren is super high skilled. Hoffman's one of those role players. Same with Paul Byron, and obviously Price, who may or may not come back. Plus, you got the season ending. Once the season ends, you got Montreal has so many contracts. So unfortunately, if they're gonna try and push for a playoff and a good run, they're gonna have to do it relatively soon because they got 7 contracts expiring at the end of this year.
Oh wow!
They're all relatively big names. They got Monahan, Caulfield, Duren, Byron, Dadonov, Pizzetta, and Harris. Which, some of those aren't big contracts, but I'm assuming Caulfield's probably going to get paid. If Monahan keeps up the track that he's going on, he might get paid. Dadonov's been great for them. Duren. So, yeah, it's kind of my Habs rant is I love the team, been their fan for so long, but if they're going to keep that whole young mentality, they're going to have to St. Louis has been doing a great job of it. Their old coach really was win or nothing, whereas that they've improved on their mentality. Last year they were going on 7, 8, 9, 10 game losing streaks, whereas they look a lot better after a loss with St. Louis coming in as coach. So which is unfortunate that they aren't winning as often, but when you lose against a team and then you go into the next game being oh, we have to play better, not that we still played good, that's kind of the coach mentality switch, which I liked, which I'm not really a huge fan of the coach firing thing. I have my personal opinions about the whole firing coaches every 6 years or whatever, but this was a great change for them. So I think they're on the up and coming for sure. But I think if they do keep all these young players and they keep growing, I think they got a super bright future, which is good for fans like me.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of just going to ask you. I don't know if you've been able to watch many games, but how have you, how's Slafkovsky been?
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, probably, and it's tough. Not a first overall pick, but great for what they were looking for. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. They have a bunch of small players who just that's what they were looking for. They were looking for a big middle guy, power forward that can just kind of, doesn't get bullied short and small. Suzuki's short and small, and stuff like that, right? And so they're kind of looking for that big body. So he's been playing good, but he just kind of he might need some development. I don't think it's sending down to AHL kind of development. But I think he'll definitely be a good
couple
asset
years.
Yeah, he's just big. He's not quite quite there for man, these guys are fast. Because I've seen in some games they throw him on the power play, which he's great. He keeps control of that puck. He's a great passer. 5-on-5, he just doesn't quite have that speed because he's 6'5". He's a huge body. So yeah, he definitely takes some development. A few years, he's definitely he's not even, he doesn't play with the top line. So he just plays with Monahan, and they cycle it, but it's usually him and Monahan.
How many points does he have?
Slafkovsky? 7.
Yeah,
more than Shane Wright.
Yeah, man. And that's what I mean. Some of his goals that he scored, I think he only has 3 or 4. Yeah, he has 4. 2 of them are greasy, which is kind of what that's kind of what Montreal has been looking for. Kind of another Gallagher that just really persists in the front, because that's kind of what Montreal needs. You got that first line, because the first line is Doc, Suzuki, and Caulfield. Those are your speed one-timers, bang bang plays. Whereas the Monahan, Slafkovsky line, they're kind of just grinders. They sit in front and they get the greasy ones. I think that's mostly why. But he gets a decent amount of time. He's good defensively. Like, his plus minus is quite good for a rookie. And like for being a big guy, doesn't have too many penalties. Like, he's a smart player for sure. Definitely needs time to develop big time.
Yeah, that's fair. He's only 18. Can't judge him.
That's what I mean. Like, you can't. Not gonna blame me. Like, oh man, like not quite ready. Like this draft year wasn't like super like loaded like some of the years have been in the past. So I think Habs just took him first because they just need that big body. Their team is young and small. They really rely on their speed, but you can't just have a bunch of like 5'9" tiny players on your team and expect it to work. Because, and I know speed is becoming more in the game now. Like, it's not quite grinders and battles in front of the net. Like, it's a lot of high skill, high speed as of late. So yeah, he's good at controlling the puck. He's a great passer. Like, he sees the ice really well. He's good defensively, so good asset for sure. Would it be different if we had like Shane Wright? Realistically, probably not. It's because Shane Wright is more like, he's kind of that style that like Montreal has a decent amount of. Like, we have like Caulfield, Suzuki, Duran. You know what I mean? So like adding another like first line expected player when just wouldn't really fit. So I think when you have someone who's a bit lower expectations and you throw him on the second line with any of your bigger guys, I think he's happy where he is. I think that's why he's playing so well. Which is, I mean, not to get too much into Shane Wright, but maybe that's why his performance isn't too well, because he's probably not too impressed with where he went in the draft. I think he was just like excited to be there, excited with his line mates, and he's playing quite well. It's don't show, but he's playing well. Watching the games.
All right.
Yeah.
That was nice. Did you want to go over Vegas as well?
Yeah, it won't be quite as long of a tangent and just like to rant about my favorite teams, so sorry about that one. I'll do Vegas quickly. 18-7-1, which is like great, top of the Pacific, second maybe. But I think what's crazy, which I haven't, I mean, I'm not that I look at stats too much, but they're out of 18 wins, 11 of them are home wins or away wins, sorry. And which is like insane. And
That's, yeah.
which like I haven't really seen, because like Vegas games, like home games, are like so energetic. Like, there's so much energy that comes into that arena, so it's crazy that 11 of their 18 wins is as that. And,
what's their home record?
7-5-0. So like not bad. You know what I mean? Like, but they're losing more.
Yeah, I see. Well, yeah.
So they're 18-7-1, so 5 of their regulation losses are at
5
home,
out of their 7 are at home.
which is actually kind of crazy because I thought they've always had a very good home record, especially for what they
the last few
go on in
seasons,
there.
they've been great at home. And then and then the players like Eichel, who's actually currently on injured reserve, 13 goals, 16 assists. He's playing really well, so obviously a good trade for them. Pietrangelo, who's 3 goals, 18 assists, also on the injured reserve. They got a lot of injuries right now, which may, like, if they have a home stretch, maybe that's why. But their last 10 is actually quite good. Goaltending is actually really good for them, even though they lost Fleury 2 seasons ago. Yeah, and then Lehner's actually on the injured reserve. They got Thompson and Hill, who both have Thompson 920 save percentage and Hill has a 908. So I think that's
crazy. That's crazy because I remember discussing on this podcast when we were doing our rankings for each division. We had Vegas. I think some of us had Vegas like 5th, like 4th or 5th. Definitely not top because of the sole fact of their goaltending. Like, we didn't think they had good enough goalies to compete with the rest of the teams. But, I mean, these goalies are better than most goalies right now. So, yes, shame on us.
And I mean, when you got a good team in front of you, it's easier. That kind of goes to the whole Demko conversation too. Like when your team isn't playing good in front of you, it's tough to have like a .92 save percentage. But Vegas is playing quite well, and you got young goalies who have something to prove. So they've been playing quite well. And then expiring contracts quickly is just Kessel, Hill, and Nolan Patrick. So I mean, Kessel is like he's getting up there. So who knows if he's even going to get extension. If Hill keeps up with his goaltending the way it is, I think he's going to get paid quite well. So, that's pretty much all I got for Habs in Vegas.
He would definitely be worthy of a pay increase for what he's doing over there.
Yeah, he's playing quite well. He's definitely carrying him quite a bit. Like some of the games Hill has played, like the few that I've watched, like just it's not like he's winning like 15 shot games. Like they're getting shot like 25, 30, 35 shots and winning, like only getting scored on like one or two times. So for a young goalie, like both of them, like Hill and Thompson, they're both playing incredibly well. So I don't know what's going to happen when Lehner comes out of injury reserve. It depends on how long. I think it's still undisclosed from them. Like, when you have your main starter for the last 3 or 4 seasons coming back and you got 2 rookie goalies who are putting up like wicked numbers, going to be tough. I don't know what they're going to do when Lehner comes back.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think that about does it for these specific teams. We can move on to some generic news. Obviously, a couple days ago, we had Rupe Hintz sign an 8-year deal for just about $8.5 million. So that's Dallas already doing great this season, so locking up some more of their future. I think that's a great deal on my mind.
That team is going to be good. That team is going to be really good in the future here with the young stars that they have.
Yeah, the Dallas Stars. Haha.
And I was thinking. Oh, good one. I was thinking today, they never really went into a hard rebuild, They kind of just transitioned with some good draft picks, and they've still kept their veterans, which are now their secondary scorers, Ben, Sagan. They signed Pavelski. They've done a really good job, kind of like how Boston has always done, but they've done a really good job transitioning to this young blood.
I think you can owe that all to the 2017 draft, because they have 3 of their studs and basically cornerstones for the next however many years through that draft. They have one of each position. Jason Robertson, who I think we all know is lighting it up right now.
Crazy.
Jake Ottinger, great young goalie, also signed long term, and Miro Heiskanen also signed. So that all from the same draft. That's
right.
Pretty crazy.
Awesome.
I saw this. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I saw this post about Jason Robertson, like recently. It was yesterday or the day before. They compared like his stats to McDavid's stats after 150 games or something like that. And Robertson had, I wrote it down here. Oh yeah, he had 80 goals and 84 assists. And McDavid had 56 goals and 117 assists. So obviously McDavid has more assists, but Robertson has significantly more goals and a 10 and more like plus minus. He's at plus 43 and McDavid was at plus 33. That's only 150 games in, but still. Like the early trajectory of Robertson has been absolutely insane. Like he's playing out of his mind for that team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing player. Yeah, even watching the Dallas game today, they came back. It was like 5-2 in the third period, and then they came back and 5-5. I think they lost in a shootout, but they took it to overtime with Hintz and Robertson. The team is loaded.
That team is scary.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamie Benn's actually doing something now that helps too when he's actually putting up numbers and doing things he's supposed to be doing, because the last couple of seasons he's been pretty dry.
Yeah.
Very.
Totally. Yeah. But I mean, hey, it's Jamie Benn, it's Tyler Seguin. Like these guys have always been good.
Yeah.
So which does remind me, at the end of the year, we have to look back at our predicted standings and compare them with the real standings, because I did have Dallas higher than the rest of you guys. So that just reminded me.
I think next podcast, at least when we have the full crew back, we're going to go through all of our, since we're past the quarter way mark.
We can, yeah, okay. But we'll have to do it at the end of the year.
We'll definitely do it at the end, yeah. And we'll definitely have to talk about how you have Boston last.
What?
Yeah.
There's lots of time for Boston to...
That easily is the most standout one.
Okay.
Holy.
All right.
Yeah. Moving on here. And different news. Chris Letang, middle of the week, I believe, suffering his second stroke. First being in 2014, I believe. So that's sad news there. So you hope that he will recover well. There's already news that it's not as bad as the first one, but obviously that's not something you take lightly.
Is he playing soon again, like recently, or
there is no updates?
Time frame?
No idea. The last time, yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead. That's on you.
We're going to say the same thing. I think last time he missed a couple months, or at least like it was pretty much for most of the rest of the season. Obviously, though, this one being the second one, I don't know how much, would go into that. But you hope the best for him, and we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Mm-hmm.
And out of LA, for the Kings, they waived their. Basically, he was starting to pave his way into a starter role. It seemed like last year, but Cal Peterson gets waived, gets sent down to the AHL, and no one picked him up. Very interesting. I think he only has about 2 or 3 years left at a $5 million deal. Definitely a bit risky for other teams, which is why no one claimed him, but very interesting. They've had a bit of a rough start with their goalies this year, with Quick not playing that well.
I know a couple of mine and Mynt's buddies that we play NHL with. They're LA fans, and they are more than thrilled to see Cal go down to the waivers.
I thought he was good last year. Like, not great, but I thought he was good. That was a year or two ago when he first came in, and he hasn't really overtaken Quick, so I guess that's it.
I think after you let like 9 goals in, didn't they have like a 9-8 game? Like they had a 9-8.
He wasn't all of them,
right? Well, like, you're not going to do that to Quick, so he's just the only option.
But yeah, I think he let in 4 or 5 of them. That was a crazy game. 9-8 overtime. I don't even know where you start there.
And I think, last year, watching my buddies who are Edmonton fans, so we watched the whole, Edmonton LA series. With how, and, I guess throughout the whole season, with how well Quick played last season, he was playing quite well. So it's do they really worry too much about a backup? And then when Quick kind of made a bit of a fall this season, they were okay, might have to start throwing in the backup, and then that's, is. So it's tough. It's a tough call when your goalie is so hit and miss, unfortunately. Not saying anything bad against Quick, but when you have a hit or miss starter, you can't have a fully miss backup. So
yeah, they will need to, because Quick, I can't see having many years left. They will need to figure out who's going to be their goalie of the future, though, because they do have a good team.
Yeah, good young, a lot of younger prospects, so they need kind of that up and coming goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Quick is not that.
Nope.
Speaking of goalies, the last bit of news that at least I have written down throughout this past 2 weeks, there's a lot of others. You can talk about Marner getting 19-point streak, new franchise record, so on, so forth.
How about Luke Schenn?
Luke Schenn, that's a cool stat, actually. I was just thinking that. We did post on our Instagram about him becoming the defenseman with the most career hits. I think it's around 3,000, which is crazy. So, you'd like to hear it. And I know he got a very warm, applause at the arena yesterday for that. But back to the news here with the guy who just cannot stay out of the spotlight with these kind of antics, Jordan Binnington. I don't know how many times has he done acts like this, but I think it was yesterday with him laying in about 4 goals about halfway into the game and getting pulled, and having some words for the Pittsburgh bench, not to mention he also kind of punched or hit it was a Zucker when he was going behind the net, so he got a 10-minute misconduct. He's had countless issues like this before, and Craig Berube finally had some words for the media calling him out, but not, this can't continue, and he needs to just do his job and stop pucks. So, just can't stay out of the spotlight, that guy.
Honestly, it's hilarious.
The media kind of asked Craig Berube about it, and he didn't just come right out and say it.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, Binnington, I've kind of said before, good thing he won the cup a few years ago, because he's a clown.
I feel like he's slowly turning into the Marchand of goalies. He's just universally hated for the rat shit. The rat stuff that he does.
Honestly,
but yeah, he's just the fuse on him is so short. He gets pulled and he yells at the other team, yells as he's going back. His bench, just the dumb things that he does. That just it's I always see on TSN or Sportsnet or whoever's brought a national broadcast, they always kind of mention these rookie mistakes. So a rookie taking a slashing penalty or something, just something that a veteran would know. He's been in the league for quite a bit. He's not old by any means, but he knows his way around the league. He's won a cup. He's made these runs. Been on St. Louis for quite a while, and he's still making these short fused rookie mistakes many years in, and it's just making him look like such an enemy, which is not what St. Louis is going for right now with the status that they're at.
It's just what makes it more funny is that he's just he thinks he's just this big tough guy. Most of the time it's not really much of the chirping. He does chirp a lot, but he's more purposely bumping into you, giving you a cold shoulder. But have we seen him fight? No. He's throwing water bottles behind the stage. Doesn't do anything else. He just kind of thinks he's all that and
walks the talk but can't walk the walk.
Yeah. Boom.
Hit that one right on the head there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's providing some funny it's just easy to laugh at.
Now if he licks somebody, then he's definitely Brad Marchand of goalies.
I wouldn't put past him.
Yeah, I would not either.
You know what he is? He's a kid that you have in your group of friends in school when you're growing up that always, it's when you're playing tag and they always get upset and they're always the first one to storm off and just ruin the game for everyone. They kick the ball out of off the field over the fence, or then they go tell on the teacher or something. He's that guy.
Who's their backup anyways? If they were not to use Binnington, who do they have? They don't have Husso anymore.
It's Thomas Greiss.
What?
So not a young prospect to grow and whatnot, but they're hoping Binnington could be that guy because he is signed for another 4 more years after this one at $6 million.
Yikes!
So
Yikes.
he's kind of the goalie at
He's
6
not-
million. Yeah.
Bad. Like, he's been good at times.
Very inconsistent.
Last year,
Wasn't that my answer for the inconsistent question?
I think that was a lot
Or
of
the
people's
most-
answer.
Most overrated or whatever.
Yeah. I think a lot of fans sent that in too. Alright, well, we can probably move on to our actual designated topic for today, which we're going to be talking about certain players that we think, well, let's see if we think it or not, but if they're going to be in the, Hall of Fame or not, or just the Hall of Really Good. Mikey, I'm going to throw it at you to start us off.
All right, so we wrote up a little bit of a list, and I think mine is like a 50-50, but it's going to be more so on the yes side. I had Jonathan Toews. Jonathan Toews, captain of the Chicago Blackhawks. He's won 3 Stanley Cups. He won 2 gold medals, I believe, in the Olympics. And he's also won a Conn Smythe trophy, which is the playoff MVP. Not many people can say they won 3 cups, 2 gold medals, and being awarded, an MVP in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I think just overall what he's done for Chicago and his whole career, just earns him a spot, once he retires. What do you guys think? You guys think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame? I'm going with yes.
Yeah, I would agree for all your points there.
yeah, I would agree too. And not just for Chicago, but for hockey with as a part of Chicago. I mean, he was the quintessential captain, leadership, and just a dominant face for so long. Always on Team Canada. He's got that Conn Smythe, like you said, 3 Stanley Cups. Yeah, I think he absolutely gets in.
Sweet. Well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty obvious, but I mean, it's always good to hear people's takes.
I mean, it's tough to be like, oh, he was a good leader, throw him in the Hall of Fame. But that is kind of like when you have like that leader mentality and you would say he's like Team Canada, like multiple cups and like the leader, like he's like not just telling them to like get their butts in the gear, like he's showing them. You know what I mean? Like he constantly puts up points. He's doing well in the playoffs. Like he's getting relatively up there in age, but he's still putting up like decent points, like point per game seasons, right? And like good defensively. Like he's just a great leader, and I also agree. I think he should be in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, his points might have decreased recently, but that doesn't. When he was at the top, it was such a top that it doesn't really hurt his repertoire. What's his points at right now, Mike?
Let me look this up, like for the season right now, or just in general, like a whole career.
Yeah,
I got you.
Give me games played and points.
Yes, sir. Pulling it up. So in 1,038 games played, he has 866 points with a plus-minus rating of 169, 365 goals, and 501 assists.
Yeah, not quite at 1,000, but good enough.
He has a chance to get to 1,000.
Yeah, he does. He might be.
He was
a few more
he
years.
Was he was 07 draft. He probably still has like what 2, 3, 4, depending on his health, I guess, because he took quite a bit of time off there in the summer or whatever it was, right when he had his whatever
he missed
was
like
dealing
all
with.
of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
a good chunk of it.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's what I'm trying to look like on these stats. He like 70 games, 71 games. So I don't know when that exactly was, but I do remember like he had those health issues and like he was worried if he was even going to play again or whatever. So his health stays, then I mean, 140 points in like 4 years, definitely doable.
Like
for a
in
guy
his whole career, he's won 2, 3, like maybe 4, 5 seasons like healthy. Like that's played like full 80 games.
82. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise he hasn't really played a full season besides that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
He's sorry. One
Taves.
last point though. I just want to say in the playoffs, he's been quite the performer. He's almost a point per game in the playoffs.
Oh,
Which is actually
there you
pretty
go.
crazy. 119
There you go.
points in 137 playoff games.
Yeah. Plus 3
3
cups.
Stanley Cups. Yeah.
And
The
a bunch of cups.
Captain of three-time Stanley Cup winner. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's been a performer. Oh my god.
Yeah.
We'll switch gears. Mynt, who is your Hall of Fame pick?
Well, since I went on my fun little rant about the Habs, I'll keep on the bandwagon here and say my Hall of Fame pick is Carey Price. So quick kind of, me and my stats guy stuff. So he has currently 712 games played in the NHL with this is like overall wise, he has 2.51 goals against and a .97 save percentage, but like unfortunately they've been gone down just because of his health, and obviously the Habs haven't been playing great as recently, so that's kind of side. Go to the awards. The only thing that I know, like as trying my best to think as a non-biased Habs fan, because Habs fans love being that, is that he has a Vezina, Ted Lindsay, Bill Masterson, and Jennings, and quite a bit of hardware for a goaltender, in my opinion. Like, don't really see goaltenders win the Hart too much, as far as I'm aware. That might be like a bad fan thing of me to say, but you see the Hart go to like the McDavids, the Matthews, you know what I mean? Like you see these like high point plays. You don't really see a goalie get it too often, but like 2014, 2015, when he won it, he had a .933 save percentage and a .196 goals against. Like unreal season goaltending wise, and he went 44-16. He just played 66 games as a goaltender. Like that, the backup barely even played, and he just played so consistently. Like he was playing out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard for
yeah.
goalies to do.
Yeah. So I mean, the only downside is that when you look through his hardware shelf, you don't see a Stanley Cup, which like I mean, you can't really say that about every player. There's a lot of really good players that like don't have cups and they're still Hall of Fame worthy, right? So, but yeah. So I guess kind of overall, it's kind of their goalies. It's like, oh man, he had so many goals this year. Like his 2013 great season. Unfortunately, he's been going down a little bit, but I think that's mostly to do, in my opinion, anyways, with his health. Like 2020, he only had 25 games, and then last season he only had 5. He was injured with his knee the whole time, and now, like summer, he went through the mental health program. So who knows? And they don't even know if they're coming back. He's coming back at all this season, so it's kind of tough. If he like hypothetically retires now, does he get Hall of Fame? I would like to think so, just because he's been such an impact on Montreal for his whole career. He was like, he was Theodore's backup for like a little bit right at the beginning of the season, but when he started as the starter, just consistent like .92 plus save percentage every single year. So I would like to think he gets in with his hardware and his just like flat out stats. I guess it's hard to say, Habs fan. So, but I would like to think he gets in.
I mean, I think so, based on those individual awards that he's won. All the Matheson, Jennings, Hart, That 2014 year was crazy. And yeah, no cups, but two Stanley Cup finals is still worth something, in my opinion. With now with a 32 team league, you're going to see more and more players with no cups. So I mean, he 2 Stanley Cup finals and a couple other third round runs. I think for sure. I think he's been the best goalie of this generation in his prime.
I just want to say, I think I called Braydon Mynt on the podcast, and nobody knows.
I think you did.
What that is going to mean.
You did.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that is his name that I refer to him by, because it's on Xbox. That's just a force of habit. So if I ever say that again during the podcast, I'm referring to Braydon. I just don't like to call him Braydon.
Yeah, I did not
legally change my name.
I noticed it 2 minutes after he started talking. I'm like, did I just call him that? Yeah, I did.
Thank you for that.
Had to clarify just so nobody got confused. All right. So Carey Price, good option. Mr. Corey, your pick.
My pick. So I have Joe Thornton, and let me just read to you his rap sheet. Well, games played 1,700 NHL totals 1,714 games. His points in those games 1,539. He has a World Junior Under 20 Championship, a World Junior Championship. Those are tournaments he's participated in. His NHL awards, one Art Ross Trophy, one Hart Memorial Trophy that came in 2005, 2006. Fun fact, he was actually traded that year from Boston to San Jose. I'm going to guess he's the only player that's won the Hart being traded during that season. But if anybody knows that I'm wrong, let me know. Because that's a crazy thing to win most valuable player the year you got traded. So I actually don't know if that's true or not. But if someone else knows that, let me know. He's also helped Canada win the gold medal at 2010 Vancouver Olympics. He was named the MVP of the 2005 IIHF World Championships, where Canada won a silver medal. And that is no Stanley Cups. 187 playoff games, 134 playoff points. I would say one of the best playmakers of the 2000s. Always got a ton of assists. Personally, I'm going yes. I got hooked into doing Thornton. I think if you know me, you know I'm not a big Thornton fan. I think he's hella overrated. But as a Hall of Famer, I mean, yeah, those are good numbers. So, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't know if anyone would disagree. I can't see anyone disagreeing here. Right, Mikey?
He's really good at scoring empty net goals, that's for sure. I agree.
Which is actually funny, not to be like the new guy that disagrees with everybody, but I don't think I say no, but I don't think he's like shoo-in. You know what I mean? Like, I think looking at his stats, like, man, 114 in 06, like, that's crazy. But like, his hardware is a little low, which, like, I mean, fine. But like, statistically, like, historically, when you look back, you have like a lot of players that just score like there's players who aren't in the Hall of Fame that got like 60 goal seasons. You know what I mean? So it's like, do we, he had a few 100-point seasons, which is really good. He's played so many seasons, and like, I mean, this is another price thing, like no cups or whatever. I'm not saying like cups, but like, had a pretty good prolific career. Like, these stats are amazing, like, because not very many people make it in the NHL, right? But I don't know. In my opinion, just like, I don't know if he's going right away. It might take him quite a while. He still might make it, but I think he's, of all the people that we listed beforehand, I think honestly he was the one that's the most on the fence for me.
Really?
Maybe like a handful.
Wow.
I'm surprised. But I'll also counter with the Sedins got in right away almost.
Yes.
Do you think the Sedins had a better career than Thornton?
Well, okay, here's the thing. Let me just hold up. Okay, I know, like, I'm going to get rioted on here if I'm not careful with my wording, so just hold up for a minute here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, like, I'm just going off, like, Henrik's sets. Like, relative, like, he had, like, again, few good seasons, 112, 94. Like, okay, they got into the Hall of Fame relatively fast. Like, in my, like, 20, like, they stopped playing in 18, where's the last season? Yeah, 2018. It's 2022, 3? Oh my god. 2022. Thank you. Yeah, 2022. Man, it's been a tough few years, I tell you what. But like, okay, I just think, I know Vancouver broadcast get it, but I think they got into the Hall of Fame super fast. Like, there's like a lot of players that have like similar stats and stuff like that as the Twins that like still aren't in. It took Luongo quite a while to get in there. You know what I mean? Like, he's been retired longer, I think, right, than the Sedins?
No, not really.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm just tripping. But I just think it might take Thornton a little longer to get into the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. Because, I don't know. And, like, I think the other thing with, because that was my point with Price, was that, like, how outstanding were they for their team? You know what I mean? Like, when you're looking at, like, San Jose players, you got, like, when you think of San Jose, is Thornton the first person you think of? You know what I mean? But when you think of Montreal in the recent years, like, the first person you think of is probably Price, even though he hasn't been playing. So you're going to look at San Jose and be like, oh, man, like, we miss Joe Thornton. Like, if we had Joe Thornton in his prime, you know what I mean? It's like, I think that's why Vancouver got it, because, like, Vancouver, when they had the brothers in their prime, like they were playing super well. Whereas, like, San Jose still wasn't, like, making super long. Like, they had a few good runs, you know what I mean? The brothers there, I don't know. I just think, like, the Sedins had a good season, and I get why they're in the Hall of Fame, but like I said, there's a few similar statted players, like, aren't in yet, so I don't know if Joe Thornton will get in there super fast. I mean, if he does, I'm not going to disagree. I'm just saying, like, does he get in right away? Maybe not.
I think he does get in right away because NHL community seems to love Joe Thornton. Personally,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like the fan base,
like,
for sure.
Like, yeah, they seem to love this guy. And see him as a legend. That's what I've noticed. So I think he does get in right away. But I like kind of what you said, what they've done for the team. My biggest knock on Thornton is I feel like he's never carried. He's never been, whenever he's had a chance to be the guy, it's never really felt like he's been the guy, especially in the postseason. So
I was going to mention that too, and I was saying, like, he lost his captaincy,
right? Yeah,
multiple times. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like he had a great stats, but you know what I mean. When we were talking about Tays, like, great leader, like, constantly up there. So it's like, we comparing that to Thornton, you know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, it's kind of tough. Like I said, if he makes it, I'm not going to be like, oh, awful pick, but I do see your points for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Max?
All right, I will cap it off with a pick here who I definitely think should be going in, and that is Patrice Bergeron. So he drafted in 2003. He's just recently, actually, even a couple days ago, I think, just hit 1,000 career points in just over 1,200 career games. He's quite a bit of hardware for himself, representing Team Canada. He's a member of the Triple Gold Club. He has 5 Selkies and might be en route to getting another one this year, if he can keep it up. He has a Stanley Cup, as us Canuck fans know. Obviously, Mark Messier Leadership Award. You got the Masterton and King Clancy as well. Just a similar topic to a lot of these guys on that we've been mentioning, but just a great leader. Even though he's only been a captain for just over a season, thanks to Chara. But you think of Boston, you think of Bergeron, and you think that culture that they have over there and what they've built over the past decade. And he's been a big reason for that. And I don't even know where they would be without him. And I'm just picturing what they would be this year without him if he didn't resign. So yeah. I think it's a definite yes for me, unless anyone else opposes.
No, I mean, yeah, it's like the best. He's been the best defensive forward for this generation, like the 2000s. So, a ton of Selkies. Yeah, and that'll not a ton of big point years, but all those Selkies and the other things you mentioned will for sure get him in.
I think out of the four we talked about, I think Bergeron has the best shot. I mean, they all have great shots. Obviously, these aren't like it's not like we talk about three bums and then Bergeron, like, you know what I mean. But I think Bergeron just had such a crazy career, and like we talked about with most of these other players, like what an impact he's had on that team. Pretty much being like not only a third forward but a third defenseman constantly. Like he plays so well every year. So.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. That does about it for the Hall of Fame discussion. We'll most definitely have to come back to that and do other players, maybe more controversial ones. Try and find those really hard ones.
We can get listeners to suggest them. Yeah,
definitely. So for this week's trivia, at least this podcast trivia, it's going to be a little different. Obviously, no Kyle here today, but I am going to be rattling off 10 rapid-fire questions. This might be a recurring segment, depending on how it goes. So at least the theme for this week is going to be about the 21-22 season. So everything up until this point, just over a quarter way in. They may be player stats. Yeah, go ahead.
It's the 22-23 season right now.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Is that the first question? I got it right.
It's not the first question.
I'm not the only one that does it.
Max Mondays.
No, you're going to mess up here. I got you.
So is this going to be, are you going to like tell us, is it going to be like easy ones, hard ones? Why?
They more or less, it's hard to say how easy or hard they will be. It's really about, could be specific players, could be teams. At least starting off with how we're going to do this, you're just going to have to blurt out the answer. This is a podcast. We kind of need to.
I was just going to say, do we each answer separately or what?
This is a podcast. We need you guys to be talking. So it's really going to be about who blurts it out first. Okay. And if enough chaos happens and no one gets it, I guess I'll have to tell you. But I am hoping they're not that hard. If you've been paying attention, awful, you should at least be able to figure
Corey's
it out.
got good trivia skills no matter what it is, so...
I like non-hockey trivia, which is scary because I watch so much hockey.
Okay.
Trivia Pursuit legend, bro.
So, again, just blurt it out. We'll go from there. We'll keep track in our heads. Yeah. Unofficial start to this. Okay. So, who has the most points after changing teams this past summer?
That's hard, man. What?
like
this
traded
or player?
Something?
This is their first year on their new team.
Traded or signed?
Johnny Gaudreau.
Nope.
Yell him, but luckily I didn't because that's not right.
I think Kachuk.
Someone say Kachuk?
Weirdo?
Yeah. Kachuk.
Oh, shit.
I said it.
If Kachuk wasn't right, I was going with you. Fuck, dude.
Corey
That was
sounded like he was underwater for that, so I don't know if
Yeah, you did sound underwater. I couldn't tell.
I said Kachuk. 100%. That was me.
I did hear like a like your hand was muffled or something.
I was going to guess Goudreau, but then no.
This is a hard question.
Damn.
Uh,
Was that an easy one? Damn.
well,
Yeah.
I'm hoping they're not that hard. Shit. Okay, now I'm rethinking like half of these, but okay.
Mine
It's
went
funny when we
blank.
had like 17 guesses. So.
Yeah, this. Okay, well, fuck, this next one might take like a million guesses.
It's all right. Let's go.
Well, let's see if you're paying attention to the plus minus leaders, because I'm asking you who the plus minus leader is.
Oh, I looked at it the other day, but
It's Hampus Lindholm.
He is one of them. He's tied for first, so I will give you that.
What?
He's on my
Charlie
fantasy
Hampus
team.
Lindholm.
He's
Charlie
on my
McAvoy.
fantasy team.
No.
Bergeron, Marchand.
Wait, you're not giving me that answer?
No, I am giving you that. He's tied for first with
Dude,
some other guy.
It's another defenseman on Boston. I don't know who it is.
I
don't think it's... No, I think this
Yeah.
guy's on New Jersey.
Nelson?
New
Oh,
Jersey.
you are close.
Oh,
Like
then
that,
If it's
like
close,
it-
then it's not.
Dougie Hamilton.
Fensman
No.
on New Jersey. Aves?
Nope.
Just for Brat.
I don't know any other defenseman, bro.
It's a defenseman.
Dude, I don't...
It's Hamilton's
Ah.
partner. Let's see if you guys know that.
Dude.
No.
All right. No one's going to get it. It's Jonas Siegenthaler.
Bro,
Man.
this is...
I know defenseman on New Jersey, dude. Ah, damn.
Dude, that's like worse than Kyle's question. A few
Really?
weeks ago.
Aw. Hey, man, Mikey got Lindholm immediately.
Dude, cheating.
I have
You're cheating.
I have Lindholm on my fantasy team. I know how well he's...
Oh, okay.
He's both of these guys are plus 21.
Dude.
This one might be difficult. I'll have to give you lots of hints. But who is, as I will say it, the Green Jacket winner? So if you guys don't know, the Green Jacket is a, prize for golf for the Masters tournament. So it's the opposite of the plus minus. It's the worst plus minus.
Oh, that's...
It's got to be somebody from Anaheim.
We gotta go Anaheim, right? Or
Yeah, Anaheim or Arizona.
From the West.
or like St. Louis or something.
Cam Fowler.
Chicago.
Cam Fowler.
Nope.
Klingberg.
Am I close?
I think a bad defensive.
I won't keep saying
Ovechkin.
no. It's if you get it right, I'll say yes.
He's from the West, Mint.
He is from the West.
He's
It's
from
been a
the
team
West.
you've mentioned.
Okay,
So
so
it's Anaheim or St. Louis.
I think it's Anaheim.
It's not Anaheim.
Okay, defenseman on that. Oh, I was gonna say Klingberg if it was Anaheim. So it's
I'm
St.
helping you
Louis.
guys out.
Toy Krug.
Krug.
Krug, yep.
Oh, wow, really?
Braydon gets that.
What is he at?
He's
I
on my,
said Krug.
at least on my end, Braydon got that before you. Just before.
Wow, that's 2 times that you haven't heard me.
Hey, you got Kachuk. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I got it underwater, apparently.
Yeah. Krug is a minus 20.
Yikes.
Oh,
Got a
Big yikes.
Tough.
critique, am I right, Braydon?
Yeah, I gotta send this one to critique for sure.
All right. I'm honestly going to skip this one because you guys probably won't get it.
What? Come on, dude.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Who currently has the most blocked shots?
Okay. Well.
And he is the runaway favorite right now. By far.
Okay. Well, defenseman. So.
It is a defenseman.
Hamilton?
Nope.
No, it can't be from a top team. It has to be from like some. It has to be from like some bottom feeder team that has like 100 shots against a game.
Is it Chikrin?
Nope.
Cam Fowler isn't blocked.
Nope. He doesn't. Second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
Just blurt it out. There's no.
Is it what conference?
He is in the West.
Seth Jones.
No.
Yes.
Calvin DeHaan.
Oh, it's got to be a top team because they don't get scored on. We're
It
talking
is a
Vegas,
top
Calgary,
team.
Edmonton.
Oh. Petrangelo.
No. It's a good guess, though.
Martinez.
He's up there. It is Martinez.
Yeah, baby, no Vegas players.
He has 110 block shots,
Oh my god.
which is over 40, almost 40 more than the next guy. So
Who's the next guy?
I don't know. I didn't write that. I wrote down that he's almost 40 up. I don't know.
Thank God for the Vegas band.
I know Petrangelo is up there, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So at least you guys got it. This one narrowed down a little bit more. So, who is the leading goal scorer on Arizona so far?
JJ Moser.
No. That's an interesting one.
Travis
Schmaltz.
Boyd.
Schmaltz.
No, Schmaltz is injured.
Well, he's healthy now, but it's not him.
How about
Clayton Keller.
Clayton Keller.
No.
Oh God.
He's the leading
Isn't-
point scorer, not the goal.
Goal scorer forwards. Richie.
Who's-
No. Who would you
Who
say, Mike?
scores for them?
Gostisbehere?
No. Mikey, what did you say? I couldn't hear.
I didn't say anything. I said
Okay.
Keller when he said Keller.
Okay.
But
no.
then I also said nobody scores goals for them.
The
So
only other forward I
that's-
can think of is Schmaltz, but I don't think he
I
has.
think it's. I don't even know what line he plays on. Second, third line.
Barrett Hayton.
Nope.
I'm trying to think of all the damn players from that team.
There's
If it helps, he only has 10.
God.
When you, I'll know it when you say it. It's like it's the guy that is kind of like Dvorak.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
In what way?
Yeah, I have no clue on it. I've named all the players.
Is it Lawson
forwards.
Krause?
It's Lawson Krause.
It's like what I said.
He's the only other forward.
Shout out to the sponsor Google for this video. Like, okay, no, I'm kidding.
Is that who you were trying to think of, Corey?
Let's just say yes.
Okay.
I think
Good
the
guess,
only
Ricky.
people that
Honestly,
put points on
You
their
guys
team are
named
Krause and
everyone.
Keller.
Jeez. That was funny. All right. We're going into team stats here, so maybe a little bit easier for you. We'll see. Who currently has the number one ranked power play?
New Jersey.
And,
New Jersey?
Nope,
Toronto.
Not New Jersey. Nope.
Toronto,
Nope.
Boston,
I think a team that like doesn't get much power plays but still scores on them.
New York
Edmonton.
Islanders,
Nope.
Oh wait, no, Avalanche.
Edmonton.
Yep. Colorado.
Okay. I was trying to think of the top. I was trying to think of the top teams from last year.
Braydon is clearing up right now.
Just okay. I just want to say that when we were talking about the power play for Vancouver, I had to like muscle memory my way into like what team logos did I see when I was looking at Vancouver power plays. Oh damn.
Yeah, Colorado's power play currently at 32.5%. It's pretty damn good.
So rare.
Yeah. So pretty much the same topic as that. Who currently has the number one ranked penalty kill?
New Jersey,
No.
New York Islanders, Colorado,
I'll tell you when you're right, so you can just keep
Boston.
naming.
Boston,
Nope.
Toronto,
Carolina.
Vegas,
Alice.
LA, Seattle.
Division here.
I'll let you know, they're like a bottom 5 team in the NHL.
Minnesota,
Chicago.
No.
Columbus.
Bottom team. Chicago, Anaheim,
New York.
San Jose.
Montreal.
It's San Jose.
Oh, let's go.
San Jose with a 88.2% penalty kill
God.
while being about, I think, 4th from the bottom. Pretty crazy. I think Corey named every other team.
It sucks that they're so good at killing the penalty, but like can't score goals to win games. But
One regulation win, I think.
Jake Buff, bro.
Last one for you guys. Who currently has the most man games lost due to injury?
Jonathan Taves.
What? No, what team? Like this season, not like in total.
What team has the most amount of people injured? Is that what you mean?
Boston?
Jonathan Taves.
Like the most, like the team with like the most roster players that would be playing, not playing because of injury.
Montreal?
Toronto.
Edmonton.
Toronto.
I said Toronto.
Yeah.
Good.
Toronto, with at least a stat that was 2 days ago. I didn't update it since. They have 166 games lost due to injury.
Yeah.
Okay.
Canucks were up there. Quite a few teams.
Sick Canucks.
And that's all the trivia I have.
That was fun.
That was chaos.
Yeah, thanks, Max.
So obviously we haven't had a podcast in the last 2 weeks, so we've had 2 Trivia Tuesdays since then. I think, I made both of these, so they're a little tougher as well. First one was, the answer to that was Dustin Byfuglien. Bit of a interesting backstory.
I saw it before I came on. I was like, no.
Shoot. And the obviously one that was just last week was Cal Clutterbuck, who is the guy with the most hits all time. So that's that. And obviously we did have a fan question for you guys 2 weeks ago, and it was a poll on our story about if Bo Horvat will be traded. And back then, it was a pretty close vote. You guys voted yes for 57% of you did, and 43% obviously said no. It's very close voting there. I think in the last 2 weeks that has not really changed since the Canucks have been meandering since that. And that just about does it for this podcast. Do you guys have any final sayings? Corey, I know you like to predict what the Canucks will do in their next few games.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule.
Tomorrow, I know they have someone. I forgot.
I know Montreal is soon because they just played Edmonton, so.
We are at home to Montreal. It's going to be a late one for the Montreal fans. It's 7:30 Pacific time. And that goes ahead tomorrow. So that should be a good one. Both are kind of in the same position in their respective divisions. And then we got the Sharks on Wednesday. We are in San Jose, another 7:30 p.m. start. And then on the weekend and Saturday, Minnesota Wild. And then Calgary on Wednesday. They got a couple, looking at next week, Canucks have a couple 2-day breaks, which is kind of odd. They actually play Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. Interesting. Anyways. My prediction, I don't think you want to hear my prediction. I don't know. I'm less hopeful now.
Well,
that's all I'll say.
We shall see then with the Canucks, because from game to game, they can change.
To be honest, I'm looking forward to watching Montreal, because I haven't really seen a Montreal game this year, and I want to watch their young guys. Coffee, kind of like what Braydon was talking about earlier, but Suzuki has really impressed me this year. I didn't know he was that good. His hands are he is. I didn't know he was that good. Pulling out some moves. in the shootout and such. And I want to watch Caulfield. Yeah, he's good, right? And I want to watch Caulfield too. So, and Kirby Doc and all those guys.
That Suzuki Pacioretty trade years ago is starting to look up because at the time I was very upset, but it's looking up right now.
I bet.
Yeah, absolutely. Suzuki is sick. So, yeah, we'll see what they can do. If they can string together a few more wins, they could potentially hit a wild card spot. But they got a lot of teams to jump. And don't expect Calgary to keep sleeping either. They should do a bit better than they're doing. So, or maybe Seattle will stop winning. Who knows?
Well, who knows? This NHL season's been funky, so we'll see. So next podcast we'll be able to catch up with the recent news. We'll make sure to try and get the full crew back. Hopefully Kyle can catch his voice, or else he's going to be talking like a smoker for the rest of his life.
He doesn't sound pretty right now.
He's not. He was able to do this, but, well, his voice wasn't, that's for sure. So thank you all for watching. Listening. We don't have really much to watch on YouTube, but we'll hopefully get maybe that changed up for you soon. So thank you all, and we'll catch you in the next one.